Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Cascading Coffee. My name again is Eddie, and I'm joined by Roland.
Morning,
And
everybody.
good morning. We are gonna do some simple little rundowns, a few little handy things that you can do, um, including how to put your Facebook feed into a page and how to make a form. We went through this on the last lesson, but I like to double up so that other users who didn't get to go through it can go over and check it out again. And we're going to do another run at it. And this time we're going to do some simpler approaches. And start sharing my screen. Okay, so we're going to work once again at the Department of Sample. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can anyone see my screen yet?
Yeah, we got it, Eddie. Thank you.
Cool. And let me show you our index page, because that's usually where we like to begin. Let's check out what kind of updates we can make. Usually, as everyone's site will look fairly similar to this. Over here, you can see I've already replaced the Facebook, the news that usually goes here with the Facebook feed. And I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So we're going to make a new page. And what we're going to do is typical interior page. Is we're going to start filling it up with HTML content. On this one, let's start with a form. So just to remind you, the page name is, think about it as a file name. So that's why there's a strict naming convention here, because we don't want spaces in our URLs and things like that. These are the ones that are the visible names. Title will come up here on your files that you can refer to, and the display will be in your browser window. So the most flexible kind of content that we have is the feature text, which lets you put your own WYSIWYG content through the WYSIWYG. This is the headline that comes up. And here, normally, we put our form. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert a form in here using some HTML. And where we're going to get that from is from our Microsoft Office form factory. Using your university credentials, you guys can log into office.com and get ready to start making a new form. I think by default it gives you like this green theme, but you can easily change that. And I think this one here kind of fits our theme. So we can make a very, very general form. It doesn't matter what it is here. What do you suggest we put in here? What could this form be about? Either way, the way you like to make your forms is up to you. What we're wanting to get here is the source code. So once we're ready to share our form, we're gonna take this code that is generously given to us, copy it, and then we come back over here and we put in some source code. If there's anything already there, you can format it here if you want to get HTML about it. And then we copy this stuff. You can see that it has some parameters already, a height and width. Feel free to change those too. Hopefully it gives us a nice, oh yeah, cool little preview. And we can go from there. And let's see how it checks out. So yeah, it's a very simple process. You can change the width and the height, of course, make it the full size. It is also very flexible. Any kind of HTML can go in here. So I've seen other people use it for their slate forms. Just get your source code and punch it in right there. And as you guys can see, it's pretty simple. Did I lose anybody in that process? It's pretty quiet. Any questions so far?
Eddie, I kind of missed how you went from Cascade to Microsoft to retrieve the forms. Can you show that? Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So what I did is here, once I've already started to create a page, it's the same pop-up that comes up. When you add a new page, it just has you fill it in with content. And the default one, I believe, is the top one here. But when you change this content row to feature text, it opens up pretty much a small little, word processing menu. We call it a WYSIWYG, and that's short for what you see is what you get. Because what you type out over here and edit it through all the functions is usually what you get. But after putting in some regular text, I went over here to this special little option that says source code. And what that lets me see is all the stuff that I'm inputting through here in a more technical aspect in the HTML language. And the cool thing about it is that it lets you make very high level edits, and it lets you input stuff from other websites. So what I did in this case was in Microsoft Office.com, I created a form through the new form, and then it let me make this survey. It can really be whatever you want it. There's all these features here, how to do it. I'm not very familiar with Microsoft Office.com. I don't use forms that much, but it is very, very simple process. The point of it is when you're done making your form, you click the share button, and it gives you a variety of sharing options. Usually people can email it. Here, fill out my survey, please, or a link, and I'll show you how to do this. So a regular hyperlink is also another option we can do. And when we copy that and come back to our page that we're making, I don't even need to go in here into the source code. Let's make it even simpler than that. Click here. You've seen that a lot. We highlight that, and we're gonna make a link. Excuse me, an external link since it's in another website. Right there at the source, that's where I paste in the code that I picked up from my form. That's all there is to it. I have made a link to it, submit it, and instead of having the actual form, there is a link to which will shoot me off to the form. So if I click it, it'll send me off to the form. But this would be hosted in the Microsoft website. So there is that option to do it. But the option that I showed you guys how to do it is to actually embed the form. We call it an embed because it directly puts it into into our page. So there's that option of linking to a form that you have made, or there is the option to directly embed it, and I'll show you how to do that once again. And it's the same process. But this time we're going to use this embed. And so we copy the code, and here where I was at the source code, I'm just going to drop it in there. So the easy way is to link to it, creating a link right here. The extra step way is to embed it into your source code. So you don't always have to do it the complicated way. You can do it here. And let me show you what that looks like. So I essentially have both now. A link to it and the embedded form. And this is so that I can putting more content. I'm sorry, I could keep putting more content. If you have a busy page, if you have a lot of information and then you want to have a form, you can embed it. Or if you don't want this to be the distraction, you can write the text and then have a link to go to the form. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. So we basically open Office in another browser.
Yeah, and right. Yeah, you could have it in a browser in a little tab over here. Making the forms here in Office is very, very simple, very easy. You can change the theme, you can change the color, put stuff, and even upload. They even let you upload images if you want to make it a little fancy, but it's very simple to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Eddie, I have a question.
Sure.
Is the form linked to the author? Like if on the side we have
Yes.
multiple users and then one user creates the form and then that user leaves the university and they remove.
Right. In that case, I recommend maybe using a shared email, a department email, something that other people have access to.
I have
Or
a
using-
departmental
There you go. That would be a good
account,
option to use.
but I'm having issues, so I guess I have to talk to ICT on that sense. Okay.
So next, we're going to talk about the social media feed. As you can see on the index page, we already have a section devoted to it. It's not really devoted to it, but we have supplanted its purpose. Previously, I've shown you how to see the regions, and I'll show you the regions here once again. Being a little slow. Cascade, show me regions. Okay, so this is the news regions, which we have substituted with the Facebook feed. This is the form region, which is still using the return for information, request for information form. And I'm going to show you guys how to substitute that with a form. And how to change this newsfeed to the Facebook format. So this is going to require a little bit more advanced, steps. So over here on your assets, there's what we have, what we call blocks and formats. And the blocks are like pieces of web pages. They are HTML code, kind of like what we got from the forms. And I'm looking at the wrong one, excuse me. So this is very similar to what we got on the forms. It's just a line of code that we put in here to make this piece, this chunk of website. And then this chunk of website goes into those regions that I was showing you about and fills them in. So I already showed you how it worked, but I'm going to show you how we can customize it. So let's go back to the index. So right now it's giving us the Facebook feed of the General University, but we want to make it to another Facebook social media feed. So when you activate the regions and you go to the appropriate section, again, it's showing you what chunk of website, let's refer to it, what format is used to fill this in. So I showed you where it was in the assets. When you click directly at it, it takes you directly to it. And we're gonna edit it. But before we go into doing that, I wanna show you guys this handy link that Facebook has developed for these purposes exactly. And so let's say that we're looking at somebody's, geez, can somebody please give me a profile that we can use for an example? Does anyone have a preferred Facebook profile? Anyone?
You can use our NM Dept Ag for New Mexico Department of Ag.
Can you tell me what it is?
NM DEPT AG.
AG, all right. Cool, wonderful. All right, so just with that simple act of punching in your URL, it already gives me a preview and a super easy get code button. Okay, now we have taken care of step one because in the template we have already put in this thing for this purpose. So step two is the only thing we're worried about. And this is the code that we're gonna copy so that we can link to this Facebook feed. Now we're very happy to do this kind of stuff for you. If you just give us like your URL and tell us, oh, this is our Facebook feed, can you please replace it for us? This is essentially what we're gonna do. And we're very happy to do it for you, but I'm just showing you guys how it works. Test format every time for errors. No errors, so let's submit it. I've essentially, I have effectively edited this Facebook feed, what we are calling chunk of a page chunk, whatever. And let's go back to see how it changed the region. So that news region was being populated by the Facebook format, which had that code in it, which linked to that Facebook feed. And that's how it works. And this was a very good example. Thank you for providing it to me. Again, if we want to make the thing longer, there's ways of doing that. I'm sure it has parameters there that we can manipulate. Did you all get a good step-by-step on that? I'm going to see if I can go over it again on this side.
Need a Facebook developer account to access the Facebook page?
Let's copy this and chat it over to you guys. Oh, I don't even have my chat. Well, I'll email it to you. I'll chat it over to you right now. There it is.
Hey, Eddie, I think he's asking if you need an actual Facebook developer account to be able to do this, or can you just go to this website?
No, not at all. This is a free service, I think, that Facebook put out. Very nice of them. Some other websites are not that generous. I think Instagram, it's a very, very complicated process. So we haven't figured that out yet. If anybody has an easy method of getting Instagram feeds like this, please share it with us. So far, we got the Twitter and the Facebook going, but this was to be the most simple one. Let's look at the form region. This one's also being governed by a format, and we're gonna change that one. And the way we can do that one is over here through the edit, kind of like if you were gonna make some updates on your home page. And we're gonna do it here, but there's like a little step that's saying you can assign your own block to replace this form, but don't forget to check no format in the configuration tab because it's currently being populated. Right now there's something occupying that region. We're just gonna have to make it empty. So we're gonna click no format, please go away, RFI. Now we come back to the content and we're gonna replace it. In your assets folder, you've seen that we have various blocks, and this particular one is a form. So now instead of that generic RFI that I believe goes to the applications, now we have our own custom-made story. I'm sorry, a custom-made form. I'm going to show you the full screen preview is also pretty handy in case you want to see what your page would look like outside of those outside of the Cascade framework. You can see what it would look like if you were to publish it and if it were to be live. Pretty cool. You could also check out how it would look like on different displays. Just shrink it down, and you can see how everything is accommodated for the new space. So that's full screen preview is nice too. If you want to take a screen cap, if you want to share it with somebody who's not in Cascade, your site isn't live yet, and you want to share what you're doing with somebody else, put it on full screen preview and take a screen cap or print it, what have you. Handy little tool. Guys, are there any questions?
So I'm confused about that form versus the Microsoft forms.
So it's the same form. I was just using a different one.
Oh, okay, that's what I was like.
But we'll look at that block that I used. It is right here on the assets folder, and the block is like I said, pretty much just the code. Independent HTML.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't need any header tags or footer or body tags. It's just very loose, independent HTML out on its own. And what this is another one of these. I used this one. I have another form over here that I used for a sample.
Right. So when you get the code from the Microsoft Forms, you would replace.
Yes.
You just add the block XHTML tags on the outside of the.
Just like we did with the source code. It's a WYSIWYG menu right here. I simply put a headline that says submit your story. Give it like the H1 tag to make it prominent, and then inserted my code right here. Very, very simple. It just takes a few steps because this block that's in the assets folder is also made. You know what? Let's do that right now. Let's make that block all over again. And this is some advanced content. So we're going to make the block. And call it the first form we made, which I forget what it was called. Oh, the coffee one, yes. Tag, and I'm going to get the code once again. So the reason why it looks so familiar is because it is essentially making another web page, but not the entire page, just a very small section of code. So I've essentially made a new block called a form block, but all it really was just the form, which I got over here. So now I can go.
So you don't have to add the manually add that XHTML -block tags. It does that for you when you define the block.
Oh, you mean the difference between the block and a whole web page?
Well, no, like when you went into the block and looked at the code, it had a tag that XHTML -block, but I didn't see you put that in there manually, so it must do that as part of the block definition then, automatically.
Yeah, I did do it right now. Yeah. I picked up this code and I dropped it in here.
Right, but there was a tag at the beginning that was XHTML -block with a closing tag, but I don't see it in that source code that you pasted.
Are you talking about what's in here?
No, it was in the when you were showing us when you were doing the no format and looking at the definition of the block. It had a tag at the beginning and end.
Eddie, I think it's when you went to create the new block and you have the option of.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, sure. Let's do that once again, because I just kind of breezed through that. So I'm not going to make a web page. I'm going to make a block. And yes, that is automatically configured. So you don't need to worry about that. That's why it's just. And this is the name of the file. Right? Are you still following me?
Yep.
Okay. And here is where I'm going to put the. So this is the same WYSIWYG menu that comes up when you're making a page. It is even simpler than a page because you don't have to go through and define content types. You don't have to do other things. So this is why I'm saying this is like a chunk of a web page. It's not an entire page. It's just a very loose chunk of code, right? So it's useless by itself. And it has to be inserted in a page. And that's essentially what we did. But the simplest process is to just make a new page and put the form in there. What I'm showing you how to do now is to replace the region that is already a fixed part of your web page. In this case, the home page. But this is how you can replace the regions with your own. What your needs are, right? So if you don't want to use that other form, you can put your own. And if you don't want to use a news feed, you can put your own. And the rest can be done at the edit menu. For example, if you want to change it here, or if you want to assign a different block to it, that can be done there. Any questions? All right, what's going on at the chat?
I'm responding to Maribel. She wanted to see how you did the full screen preview. I guess it was a little fast, so.
Oh, sure.
If you could just show her the triple dot more and then show the full screen.
Yeah. Cool. We're looking at our the form page that we just created, and when you don't even have to go through the edit, so we're just previewing it. we're not even editing it. We're gonna go to the more, and down here it says full screen preview. And it's even gonna put it on a new tab for you. On a new tab, you get to see your web page. I like to put it on a new window so that I could resize it and see, okay, maybe I want this form to like fill up the whole of the screen. So let's go ahead and do that. And feel free to ask me anything. I'm just kind of like winging it. So give you guys more of a behind the curtains. I'm gonna use a percentage, see if it'll fill up the whole thing. Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, cool. See, and if there's some background there, and I could probably change the height of it too, but let's full screen preview that. There you go, nice wide display. So as you can see, the edit, I'm sorry, the WYSIWYG menu is very flexible. And I'm going to take out the link since that'd be a little redundant. But yeah, mostly you're going to find that when you want to migrate your pages, the easiest way to do it is to just simply go to add a new page and start putting in the stuff in the feature text. And you can put everything that you need, your forms, links, other kinds of embedded content will all also work. We haven't really seen ones that don't, have we, Roland?
No, this is definitely the way forward when it comes to forms for now. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Since things seem to be a little bit quiet, we're gonna stop the recording, and then we can talk about other stuff.